Prime Minister, welcome. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
You know, everybody looks at Libya as a template, an example for the post-Arab Spring world. And it doesn't look good. It looks like it's on the way to becoming a failed state, awash in weapons, awash in militias. We don't know whether the militias are working for the government or the government is working for the militias. Your oil industry, which is your lifeline, is shut down. Is Libya a failing state?
Libya is not a failing state. The state in Libya doesn't exist yet. We are trying to create a state, and we are not ashamed of that. The outside world believes that Libya is failing, but Libya was destroyed by Gaddafi for 42 years and was destroyed by a full year of civil war, and that's why we are trying to rebuild it. As for the oil is not completely shut down. Oil now is flowing by 40 or 50%, and we are hopeful that within a few days, after some attempts from us, that full production will come back.
Well, let me ask you about that, because obviously various groups, militia, rebels, whatever you want to call them, have blockaded the main terminals, and it has caused your output to plummet. There have been reports that you have tried to pay off those rebels in exchange for ending this blockade. How are you going to end it, and have you tried to pay them off?
We never try to pay anyone off because this is immoral, and it is inappropriate for a state to do so. The second thing is that we are trying through the tribes, the tribal connections, to stay in touch with them to resolve the matter peacefully. But if it gets to a dead end, the state will act as a state and will impose and enforce the rule of law against those who violate it.
Those are fighting words. Do you mean a military action? Do you mean a security force action?
Everything possible. Everything is possible. Everything that could lead to bring things back to normal with the least damage possible will do.
You recently went to visit General al-Sisi in Egypt, and there was a lot of controversy in Tripoli after that visit. Yes. Are you glad that the Muslim Brotherhood there was defeated, that the Egyptian military stopped that experiment?
I am not happy and I'm not sad. This is an Egyptian internal matter. I cannot have a say in that. All I can say is to bless the choice of the Egyptian people. I went to Egypt because Egypt is a neighboring state, and it's important for us to keep normal relations or good relations with Egypt. It has to be a relationship based on cooperation that serves the interests of both nations and and is conducive for development in both countries.
Well, of course, Mr. Morsi, the president, the elected president, is in prison, and there are still no charges against him. I bring that up because I want to ask you what you really think about the democratic project in your region. People look at Libya and they say, oh my goodness, look at what's happened. We cannot intervene in Syria. It'll just become the same kind of mess. What's your answer to that?
Democracy is a process, an accumulation. Accumulation takes years and months. It doesn't happen overnight. If the world believes that after 42 years of dictatorship and despotism, and after 2 years of civil war, that democracy can come within months, that's an illusion. As for Egypt, I can practice democracy in my country, but I cannot interfere with others' affairs. If in Egypt all sides try to keep cooperation with one another, Egypt wouldn't have been in this situation. Everybody insisted on their position, and that's why things went to what they are now.
A lot of people are looking at Libya and the accountability of the former regime. Gaddafi's son, Saif al-Islam Gaddafi, is on trial. And the ICC, the International Criminal Court, wants you to hand him over. Why will you not do that?
We believe that the trial of Saif al-Islam Gaddafi is an internal Libyan affair. Saif al-Islam Gaddafi, what he did against the Libyan people, and he must be tried fairly for that, and this will happen.
Is he in your custody? Is he even in government custody?
No. Yes, he is.
So no question, you're not handing him over?
No.
Let's just move on to the issue of Benghazi and what happened there September 11th, 2012. The attackers have been indicted, and yet they remain at large in Libya. Don't you think the US is within its rights to snatch them, grab them, and take them?
We are in close cooperation with the United States. We arrested some suspects and they are under investigation. And they named some other suspects. Now there have been indictments issued against them, and they are a small number. We are in cooperation in that regard with the United States, and we will continue to cooperate to reach those people and present them to justice. What needs to be done is those people who killed Mr. Christopher be prosecuted and will be punished duly.
The United States and Russia have come up with a deal to disarm Syria of its chemical weapons. Now, Libya went through this starting in 2003, and nearly, more than 10 years later, there are still stockpiles being discovered, and only about 40% of the stockpiles have been destroyed. Give me an idea of how difficult it is, and it will be, to disarm Syria, from your experience, from the Libyan experience.
Of course, it is not an easy thing, and it is costly. It's about financial cost and requires a high level of technology. This is why it's difficult. In Libya, we are working in concrete steps to destroy all the chemical weapons, in cooperation with some countries like the United States and Germany, and we have taken reasonable steps in that regard.
Are you confident that the government has control of the chemical weapons in your country?
Yes, we are doing every effort to control the chemical weapons. They are under surveillance since June 2011. We started the cooperation with the United States while Gaddafi was still occupying some parts of the country. Some technical missions came and went behind the fighting lines to maintain surveillance on the chemical weapons. There is hefty security measures around those storehouses. The whole world must cooperate to destroy chemical weapons and to disarm countries from illegal weapons because they constitute a danger to the international peace. All countries have to cooperate in that regard.
Prime Minister Zeidan, thank you very much for joining me.
I thank you so much, ma'am, for this interview, wonderful interview, and I wish you a nice day.